Hello everyone, Shroomraver here, and today I'm excited to be bringing you my game from week number 10 of the Pokemon Premier League Division 2 Season 4. Yes indeed. Now once again this is going to be a combination of the team building analysis video and the battle, because timing issues and stuff and lots of things going on. Now, this week it is a bottom of the table slugfest, a grudge match for the ages, because this week we took on RhyQuinn and Nidoqueens Park Rangers. Now we'll get all the good stuff out of the way first. His links down in the description below. Do absolutely make sure you check him out. He is just one of my best friends in the community and in the wider world. He's a lovely guy, his content's fantastic, and you should go and check him out. That is something you should do, because I say so. Now, if you've been following what's been happening in the PPL, you may know that RhyQuinn and I have had some disagreements about the way things are going in the PPL right now. And we're both suffering for different reasons. And he's kind of been, you know, running his mouth a bit. So it's time we put him straight with this battle. So let's take a look at the team that he could choose from. He had Celesteela, Togekiss, Mega Venusaur, Blastoise, Licky, Azelf, Haxorus, Heliolisk, Piloswine, Barbaracle, and Arbok. Some strange things in there, but some of them have been working. His Super Z move user is the Togekiss. His regular Z move users are Azelf and Barbaracle. His team has gone through a lot of changes. He's used all his transfers. You know, he's dropped 4 things, he's picked up 4 things. So sort of second only to Jim on that score. But his team is fairly threatening. He's been using Celesteela very well. And Heliolisk and Arbok have put in, weirdly, good performances in their debut games. So we've got to think of a team that can beat him, and it's very important that we do so. And I'm going fairly risky here. We're going with a very offensive team. First up is going to be Zangoose. Goose Bolton makes a return. He's only come to 3 games. He's got 5 kills. So I'm happy about this. Zangoose is coming in with a Toxic Orb, of course. Facade, Thunder Punch, Close Combat, and Quick Attack. We've got 72 HP, Max Attack, 180 in Speed. Everything else, the remaining 4 is thrown into Special Defense. We've got a Jolly Nature on there. This guy, Zangoose, is really quite good in this match, not least because, and I'm quickly looking down just to make sure I've got my numbers right, it is outsped by only 3 of his 11 team members, and when Zangoose outspeeds 8 of your team, you're going to be in a bit of a pickle. You just are. Because Zangoose hits super hard, we all know it, it's a nuke, and that's what I'm hoping to do with it here, basically, is nuke things. Speaking of, next up we have Oxide the Salazzle. We've got a Sub-Salac Berry with Nasty Plot, Fire Blast and Sludge Wave the offensive moves, 244 speed, max special attack, 12 HP, timid nature. Once again, this is outspeeding pretty much everything that isn't called Azelf or I think Heliolisk on there. And it hits his team super hard. Like I don't think he's got anything that resists both of my stabs other than the Barbaracle on there. So yeah, it can really put a lot of pressure on, especially if I can get into Salac range, and if I can get a Nasty Plot at the same time. This is going to be really very threatening. His the priority on his team is not great. Like, he's got potential Aqua Jet Blastoise, Ice Shard Piloswine is more common, and Sucker Punch Arbok. I really think that's it. I don't think Barbaracle gets Aqua Jet. Togekiss gets E-Speed, but actually he's the one kind of person who I'd expect to run that. Either way, his options are fairly limited on that front. So if I'm at low health but I'm powered up, Salazzle's going to be putting in the shift. Then we've got Barret the Terrakion. We've got a Figgy Berry on Terrakion here. Swords Dance, Close Combat, Iron Head, Zen Headbutt, 84 HP, Max Attack, 172 Speed, Jolly Nature. Yeah, it's a Swords Dance Terrakion. I've got the Figgy to get me as much health as possible back after I set up. And yeah, Terrakion is much like Zangoose. He's got this kind of very what's the word I'm looking for, when you can take advantage of something. Well, that I can basically, he's got this fairly large speed gap that I can take advantage of. and Tarakion's one of the things that can do that. If I can get up a Swords Dance, close combat is hitting everything very hard, like Celesteela will take it, of course. That's going to be probably his main switch in. Iron Head is useful for the likes of Togekiss, who could take the close combat. Zen Headbutt there for the Mega Venusaur, who will take both very easily. So that's Tarakion. Next up, stupid build in Necrozma. We've got another defensive setup build here with the leftovers. Psyshock, Charge Beam, Sub Calm Mind, Max HP build, 244 HP, 220 defense with that bold nature, 44 thrown into speed. He doesn't have a dark type, so I was tempted to bring the full setup stored power set, but I wanted the option of going with Charge Beam, mainly for that Celesteela. Like, other than the Celesteela and the Azelf, who ain't the bulkiest, he doesn't, I believe, have a resistance to Psychic, so Necrozma was a no-brainer. But I wanted the Charge Beam for the Celesteela, and if I can get up a cheeky +1 on the Charge Beam, all the better. Then we have Sadie the Mawile. Mawile is here. We've got fully offensive this time around. Adamant, Life Orb, Sheer Force, Max Attack, Max Speed, Iron Head, Fire Fang, Thunder Fang, and Play Rough. This little girl's going to be hitting hard, I'll tell you that. Its coverage is barely resisted. I don't think it's resisted. I think it can hit pretty much everything for super effective damage, other than like the Mega Venu, who's going to be a bit of a sticky issue. Licky Licky if he wants to bring it as well. Like, yeah, Azelf doesn't get hit super effectively, but it's an Azelf, it's going to die. And, you know, Heliolisk doesn't technically get hit super effectively, but it has dry skin. Yeah, basically, everything else gets super other than Arbok. Mawile puts in work. Mawile will put in work if I get the opportunity. Now, I've talked about the speed going on here, and obviously Mawile, an offensive one, it ain't outspeeding all that much, even with max speed and Adamant. So, in order to kind of facilitate my team doing some work, and especially the likes of Mawile and Zangoose, we've got our 6th member, which is going to be Ibra the Zapdos. This is a leftover set. Thunderbolt, Extra Sensory, Agility, Baton Pass. We've got 16 in HP, max special attack, 4 special defense, and 236 speed with that timid nature. Now, Zapdos is there to pass agilities, and the beauty of this team, what this team does, is that everything is offensive other than the Necrozma, who is semi-offensive setup with Calm Mind and Charge Beam. So basically, anything on my team will appreciate getting an agility passed into it. If I can pass an agility and have free reign of who I go into, then stuff's going to drop on his team. You know, a Zangoose with +2 speed. It doesn't get much scarier than that. And the thing is, if it all doesn't work, if I can't pass the agility, this is then an offensive Zapdos with agility. It's got Thunderbolt and Extra Sensory, which again I believe is unresisted coverage across his team. Like, there are things that will take it, of course. The Mega Venusaur will be taking Extra Sentries, the Licky Licky will take anything. Haxorus is quite naturally bulky, Heliolisk has surprisingly good special defense. Like, everything on his team pretty much will take a hit, but, you know, Zapdos can be used in a variety of ways here. It can pass the agility, it can use the agility and then pass it, or it can just hammer on away at things in a sort of a clean-up sweeper role. So that is the team I'm going to be bringing. Now, looking at Rye's team, the things I am expecting, like the Celesteela, I don't think he can resist bringing. He kind of needs it for the Tarak. Like the Mega Venu, I'm very much expecting as well. Now, other things, Heliolisk, I know he likes using his Heliolisk, and, you know, I only have the Mamoswine as an option to be immune to electric, and he can run coverage for that. I could well see him getting a little bit left field, because the others, it's kind of up in the air as to what he might bring. I could see him bringing Blastoise, simply because it's just, it's very, very good at being tailored to specific things. As for the others, like a setup Haxorus could be dangerous. Barbaracle is kind of the only thing that wants to take on Salazzle for the most part. He could bring Arbok just to sort of throw me, but rather I think he's going to bring Azelf is the main thing I think he'd bring. It's just his kind of thing. He has a tendency, I feel, to overpredict in some situations. and Azelf can facilitate that just by going for U-turns, and it doesn't actually cost him all that much. So, Celesteela, Mega Venusaur, Blastoise, Azelf, I want to say Haxorus and Heliolisk, really. The Barbaracle is tempting, but I think he'll have other ways to try and deal with my Salazzle. He could always bring the Licky Licky, but I rather think that's going to bait in the Terrakion too much, and he doesn't really have a lot that enjoys switching into a Terrakion. So yeah, that's my guess. Celesteela, Mega Venu, Blastoise, Azelf, Haxorus, Heliolisk. I think he's going to go very offensive very quickly. He's going to try and get the better of me. But I think he'll have to bring some things that are defensive, and that's where Zapdos is going to come in clutch. So those were my thought process going into it. Well, I say they were. I was speaking in the present tense with it, but those were my thoughts going into it. However, I think it's about time we saw if they worked out. So without further ado, let's get right into the battle and see exactly how things did play out. So here we are with the battle against RhyQuinn, and as you can see on the right of your screen, you'll see that Pete decided to bring Heliolisk, Blastoise, Mega Venusaur, Barbaracle, Haxorus, and the Celesteela. So the Barbaracle was there. I wasn't expecting him to bring it at the time. The Haxorus, I figured building that he might want to bring it, and then I kind of forgot about it after building. So when I saw the team line, I was like, oh wait, he's got a Haxorus, and I was a bit scared. No Togekiss. I didn't think he'd bring it. So happy he didn't, because Togekiss is an absolute bastard to deal with. There's no bulk that I don't think I can beat. You know, the Venusaur looks like the toughest. The Celesteela, I have ways and means around. No Licky Licky is always nice, because without Terrakion, Licky Licky becomes an absolute pain to deal with other than Zangoose. So that's his team. I figured that Heliolisk would probably be his lead. It seems like the most useful thing, and he can Volt Switch on anything on my team, so I decided to lead off with my Necrozma. So let's see exactly how that matchup played out. So, here we go. We are challenged by Pokemon Trainer Rai with his cool hat. I'm going to send out Stupid Bill, the Necrozma, in its heavy ball. Liam, shout out to Unlawful Exile for genning and getting me 6 mons in 6 different balls. Here's the Heliolisk, as I suspected. Now, we're going to be able to gauge exactly what kind of Heliolisk we're working with here. He's going to go for the Volt Switch, and it's actually doing a bit less than I thought it would, so I'm like, okay, most likely Scarfed right about now. I would think that seems like a good lead. He's going to go into his Blastoise right here, and I'm just going to go for a Psyshock. I didn't want to override it first turn, so I'm just going to go for the Psyshock. It's going to do a nominal amount. We're going to see after my leftovers that he doesn't have any, so I'm thinking, okay, definitely seems like an AV set. Quite possibly a bulky AV set with not too much investment. So, I'm going to go for the sub to try and scout out what he's going to do. He might have gone for Toxic, but he goes for Scald, so it's a nice middle ground play from me. And as you're going to see, the Scald does not break my sub. This is very tasty indeed. That's absolutely delicious. I was very happy about that. So now he's actually going to withdraw straight on out of there, and he's going to go into Heliolisk. I thought he might do this for the Hyper Voice because, you know, it goes through the sub. I actually just go for a Calm Mind here. And after this, I'm thinking, okay, all the time I'm thinking, he could go for Hyper Voice to break through my sub, but he'll die if he does. He's probably going to go for Volt Switch just to break it and get into something to threaten me when I'm not behind the sub. So with that in mind, I was thinking about just going for another substitute here. In case he wanted to go for the Volt Switch, and as you can see, that is what he's going to do, and after the Scald damage to the sub, that is in fact going to break it, which is unfortunate, because I nearly went for sub thinking he would do that, but just in case he went for the Hyper Voice, I did here just attack. Now he's going to go into the Celesteela, figuring the Psyshock is coming, and that's exactly what I do, and this Psyshock at +1 is going to do very little damage. And it's actually going to be a crit. That's how little damage it did. It was a crit, and it did that little damage. So, I'm going to get a bit of leftovers back, and as you're going to see here, he's leftovers too. That means I'm faster than him. Now, I figure he's going to be mostly physically defensive to try and deal with Terrakion, so I'm going to scout him out even further, go for the sub once more, and just see exactly what kind of Celesteela we're dealing with here. Heavy Slam's going to come my way. I figured it would, because he doesn't want me to get behind a sub, but as you can see here, he's not going to break my sub with the Heavy Slam. This, once again, is very nice because it gives me a free charge beam at +1, which is going to do a nice little chunk. It's not the most powerful move, but it also does have that possibility of giving me another +1 in special attack. So, going to go for the charge beam. As you'll see, that's going to land and do a nice considerable chunk. It's not a 2-hit KO from there until this point, when I get a special attack boost. So that's beautiful. He's going to go for another heavy slam, and this is going to break my sub even though I'm Fizz Death. You know, Celesteela's pretty powerful. As my thing freezes up. What happened there? It froze. I'm not sure why. But anyway, he is going to break my sub. As you see, I'm going to get the leftovers back. But I know he can't break my sub. He actually can't do it, because he's a physically defensive or some form of very bulky without attack investment Celesteela. So I'm just like, beautiful. I can go for another sub, and then even though Charge Beam won't kill after the leftovers, I'll be able to basically maybe get another +1, and then Necrozma's in. He goes for the heavy slam, and as you'll see, it breaks my sub. And that literally took the highest possible roll that it could. There's no other way with his investment that he could have broken it without the absolute highest roll. But at this point, I didn't know that it was the highest roll, because I don't... Celesteela, it's very difficult to judge EVs, so I don't know. I'm thinking, okay, he might have some attack investment. You never know. So I'm like, okay, can't risk going for the sub, but I doubt he can take me out. So I'm just going to go for the charge beam. It won't quite kill, and it won't get the special attack boost. But as you'll see here, the heavy slam is going to come in. It's not going to kill, and I'm going to get my leftovers back. He's going to get his. But by the time he's gotten his leftovers back, I am a +2 Necrozma, albeit without special attack investment, and at that range of health, a Psyshock is going to do for the Celesteela, so that's what I'm going to do. Not going to risk the charge beam miss, just going to go for the Psyshock, and that will take out Bamboozled, the Celesteela. Down it goes, and that's lovely to get Celesteela out of the way. Now at this point, he pretty much only has one choice here, does Ryan, and that's to go into his Haxorus, and that's exactly what he does. Now, I can't take the risk of him setting up Dragon Dancers. I have to stay in an attack. Necrozma has done a nice amount of work taking out a big threat in Celesteela. He is here just going to go for the Earthquake. Now, he probably could have taken a hit at +1, even a Psyshock. So, at this point, I'm starting to think, maybe he's Scarfed. That crit didn't matter. I was thinking maybe he's Choice Scarfed. So I'm going to go into Ibra, the Zapdos. Going to test the water, and I'm just going to click Extra Sensory in case he isn't, because I can probably take it here. He's not shown Life Orb, so that's all good. But he is going to switch out, pretty much confirms me he is choiced. In comes the Heliolisk, who is going to take an Extra Sensory. Like, Heliolisk's special defense is pretty good. So, you know, I'm fully invested. He's not, and he's still going to take that fairly well. Now, at this point, he is going to Volt Switch, and once again, I was expecting it to do a little bit more. I'm happy it didn't, and I'm pretty much confirmed that he's Scarfed, so I'm like, okay, possibly running dual Scarfers, that's pretty interesting. In comes the Mega Venusaur. This is the point where I actually go for an Agility. Because I figured he couldn't kill, and I'm thinking, okay, now is when we can start getting this Zapdos train going. So I've gone for the Agility, and now I can start firing off Extra Sensories, basically almost for free. Venusaur is going to Mega Up right about now, which is fine. We're going to be able to test the waters with Extra Sensory to see exactly what kind of set we're working with here, because it's very doubtful that he can take me out, especially if he is bulky. And looking at the amount of damage Extra Sensory does, he is a bulky set, and here he flinches. That's pretty big. That's pretty big. He was going for a Sludge Bomb there. It would have done considerable damage, not a vast amount, probably not even a 2-hit KO, but it would have done good damage. So, I'm going to go for the Extra Sensory again, and we're going to try and see if he's got the recovery going on here. And he does. He is going to go for the Synthesis, getting himself back up to a good amount of health. And what you're going to see for the next few turns is basically neither of us backing down. I'm going to keep on going for the Extra Sensories. He's going to keep on going for the Syntheses. Either way, I'm actually quite happy with this. I've got a lot of Extra Sensory HP, or sorry, PP. He does not have a lot of PP for Synthesis, even though I'm not pressuring it because it doesn't work unless you're attacking them. I thought it did, it didn't. But I'm quite happy with this because basically what's happening is he's getting a little bit of health back each time, trying to get himself into the point where he can't be 2-hit KO'd. But I'm getting leftovers back, and now I'm nearly back at full, having been around half. So yeah, Extra Sensory train keeps on rolling, and we're going to get a nice chunk onto him here. Here goes his, I believe, 4th Synthesis. And it's now going to start getting to the point where he is going to be able to take 2 extra sensories, and that means he's probably going to start attacking at some point. But as you can see, I'm very close to full health, and a Zapdos close to full health is always nice. So here we go, extra sensory landing in once again. I'm praying for the flinch here, but I'm not going to get it. And here, as you can see, he can live another one. He's going to go for that Sludge Bomb, and look at the damage it does. It's good damage. It's very good damage indeed. After leftovers, it's definitely a 3-hit KO from there, but he can't KO me from here. So again, I'm just going to go for the extra sensory, and ladies and gentlemen, we are going to crit him. Finally, hacks in my favour. Definitely big, because you could have got a lot of damage on me, and Zapdos is still basically here, looking really good. At a really nice amount of health, so that was very unfortunate for Rai, very fortunate for me. Now, in comes the Heliolisk, which I wasn't expecting. I thought he might go into the Haxorus here, but I'm fine with it. Like, he can't kill me. I'm going for extra sensory, I'm going to try and kill this thing dead. And as you can see here, he's going to go for the Thunderbolt. It's not going to kill Zapdos, it's going to leave me quite close, but it's not going to kill. And basically this means something else is probably dying on his team unless he hard switches into the Haxorus now. He opts not to, he's actually going to opt to sack off the Heliolisk, which is perfect for me. I basically assume that it's Scarfed, so that's 1 Scarfer down. And as far as I'm concerned, he's just got Scarfed Haxorus left. I'm 100% sure it's choiced. I'm almost 100% sure it's Scarfed. So at this point, it's time to make a bit of a risky play, so I'm just going to pause it right here. Now, I can't kill this Haxorus with Zapdos. Like, my last move is Baton Pass, as you know. I can't kill him, basically. And he's going to know that I can't kill him either. So I've got to make... It's basically a 50-50 here. If he goes for Dragon Claw and I stay in, I'm going to get maybe 30% on him and then I'll die. If I stay in as he predicts a switch out into one of my many, many ground weaknesses, and he goes for Earthquake, I'm basically screwed. But there's another option here, because at this point I'm 5-3 up with an Agility Zapdos facing him down and lots of threatening things on my team at full health. So, in my mind, he can't risk the switch on my part and go for Earthquake. He can't afford to make that prediction, so what I'm going to do is try and set up an end game, and as you'll see as we resume, I'm going to click Baton Pass. I was hoping I'd lulled him into the full sense of security that I don't have it, because I hadn't gone for it before. But I go in for it now, and I'm going to Baton Pass into Sadie the Mawile as he goes for Dragon Claw. Doesn't affect me, and I'm like, okay, we are in. Now he switches out here, so I'm like, yep, Scarfed. If he's Scarfed, I actually don't outspeed him with Mawile. Either way, in comes Tortank, that's going to be the Blastoise. I'm going to go for the Play Rough, going to land it, and it's going to be a clean 2-hit KO from there. But I'm not going to risk the Play Rough, it's 90% accuracy. Thunderfang is 95, so I'm going to go for Thunderfang instead, and that is going to take down the Blastoise. Down it goes, a KO for Mawile, it's 5-2. In comes the Barbaracle. Now if this thing's bulky, he's going to take a hit. But I'm in now, I'm not switching out, I have to go for the Thunderfang. It's going to be a clean 2-hit KO right about now. He's actually going to go for the Earthquake. I'm not defensive, but he is. And it's not stab, and we're going to live it just about live it on 15 HP. Going to be able to go for a subsequent Thunderfang. It's going to land, and that's going to take out the Barbaracle. Down it goes, and now it's 5-on-1. He only has the Haxorus left. If he is Choice Scarfed, he will outspeed me here and take me out. So let's see if he's Choice Scarfed at all. He's going to have to lock himself into something. He's not Choice Scarfed, he was Choice Banded, and that Play Rough is easily going to take out Haxorus from there. Down goes the big green scary dragon, and that is going to be the game. So yes, that is how we do. That's how we do it. That's a big 5-0. That is huge. I was very happy with how it went. I had a plan going into it, and the plan basically went off without a hitch. Yeah, there was big talking points in that one. The main one is the Zapdos versus Venusaur matchup. I did get some quite considerable hacks on it. You know, the flinch at the start, and then the crit at the end. Whether it would change the overall result, I don't know. I had a lot of mons left in the back, and as you saw, his Haxorus wasn't scarfed, so I had a lot of stuff that outsped it. And by a lot of stuff, I mean 2 things that outsped it. But that's a Terrakion and a Salazzle, so you know. And priority on Zangoose, so it probably would have been fine. It might have cost him a couple of differential points, but as it is, you know, given the run of luck we've had, we're going to take those where they happen. It's very unfortunate. I did apologise to Pete after the game, but at the same time, yeah, it's kind of nice to get some hacks in my favour for once. So yes, that is going to be this week against Pete. I'm sure that I'll have some further messages for him not too far down the line. So look out for that, Pete and everyone else. But in the meantime, do please go and make sure you check out RhyQuinn's channel. Check out, you know, the links in the description will be to his YouTube, his Twitter, his MySpace, his Bebo, his SoundCloud. None of those things apart from the first 2. But no, do make sure you go and check him out. If I remember, I'll actually put a link to his portfolio as well. He does the graphics and the GFX, and they are the tits. So do make sure you check that out as well. Check out every link I put to RhyQuinn. Do it, because I said so. So yes, that is going to be it for this week, the penultimate week of this season of the PPL. We take our 3rd win. We are currently sitting at 3-7, which is better than it was before, which is nice. It'd be nice to try and win on to end on a full sort of win. A 2-win win streak would be nice. And you know, as much as I was looking forward to this week against Rye, I was equally looking forward to next week's game. Oh my goodness. Next week's game, we face off against my boy, Eric, Ashton Akai, and AS Rowlet. He is kind of basically my training partner. We have mock battles against each other. We discuss teams a lot. He's got even more league experience than I have. But the only time we've ever faced off against each other was in a mono-type league. So this is actually the first serious battle Eric and I have ever had. So it's really exciting to take him on. I'm so psyched for it. I'm absolutely stoked. He's pushing for promotion still, I think. I'm sure as hell not. So whether it's going to be sort of a very serious affair or a slightly memey one, who can say? We can both do both. But look forward to that. That's coming up next week. But yeah, I'm going to get out of here. I've rambled on for long enough. So thank you all very much for watching. I do hope you've enjoyed. And I guess with that, I'll see you next time. Laters.